Hi everyone, thank you for joining. We're going to get started. We will be taking questions in between the webinar, so feel free to use the chat to share information and we'll answer back when we can. I'm Kiran de Hart, the Student Recruitment Manager for the Online Masters here at RSM. And I'm joined here today by Emilio Marti, who's the Associate Professor for the Sustainability Management Program. He's going to be sharing more information about the program itself, and I'll be here to share information about the application process or the university itself.
Yeah, Kiran, thank you so much. So I would like to start by introducing myself. So my name is Emilio. I'm an associate professor at the Rotterdam School of Management, and I'm also the academic co-director of this new online master in sustainability management. So my research focuses on how pressure from shareholders makes companies more or less sustainable. And my early research has focused on or has explored how activist hedge funds have a rather negative influence on corporate sustainability. For example, in one study, we found that if companies have a good sustainability performance, it becomes much more likely that they get targeted by activist hedge funds. And more recently, on my research has focused on sustainable investing and how sustainable investing can make companies more sustainable. So, for example, just in March, together with two co-authors, we have published a report on global differences in ESG shareholder engagement, for which I personally have conducted 71 interviews in 9 countries with engagement specialists and asset owners to hear their thoughts on how shareholders can make companies more sustainable. Now, I would like to start by highlighting 5 features of the online master that I find particularly exciting. The first one is that you will lead from leading experts. Now, RSM has an outstanding research reputation, as you can see in numerous rankings in terms of research output, and we're particularly strong in the area of corporate sustainability. So we have many of the professors from which you can learn some cutting-edge knowledge about sustainability management. The second thing is that we will have relatively small cohorts. So our goal is to have a cohort of maybe 30 or up to 35 students, not larger. And we do that to enable a lot of interactions with faculty members. So we have like live sessions that we actually plan to split up into groups to accommodate different time zones. So you'll be with one of the faculty members with like maybe 10, 12, 15 other students. And so faculty members will know your name and they can basically pick up on where the discussion was before. So, and ultimately we know that learning is a very social activity. We learn through our interactions with others, and by having a relatively small groups, we think this really optimizes the learning experience. We're really excited about the global classroom that we will create by having about 30 students from across the globe. So you will learn how people in other countries think about sustainability. And given the global nature of sustainability, we deem that is also an important feature of the online master. At the same time, the whole thing is flexible, and I'll also talk to that later on. It's still a lot of work, and I'll speak about that. So you need to plan in about 15 to 20 hours of work per week. It's a Master of Science after all, and you're supposed to learn a lot in these 2 years. So it's not something you can do in one evening or so. So I also just want to be very clear about that. And finally, we offer a lot of flexibility. So we structure things so you can also do work on the weekends or in the evenings or whenever it suits you best. Now, this is at a very high level, the things that I find most exciting. Now, to give you a more specific sense of how the program would actually look like, I'll walk you first through the program in general, and then I'll walk you through 1 week of teaching in my course to give you a sense of what you would actually do as a student of our online master. So, as you will know, it's a part-time 2-year master. So the master has 4 semesters. And in the first 3 semesters, we have 6 courses. Steve Kennedy will talk about business or teach you about business and systems change. Madeleine Moyle about implementing sustainability strategies. I have a course on corporate governance for sustainability. Mario Samuel will teach you about business ethics and responsible leadership. Corinna will teach you tackling social issues. And Piero, who is my fellow academic co-director, will teach you tackling environmental issues. And then there's a master thesis in the 4th semester. In addition to that, we have 10 skills crash courses. A skills crash course is a course that where you learn specific skills that you need as sustainability professionals. So, for example, the first course is about persuasive communication, and then the second skills crash course, which I will teach, is about AI for sustainability professionals. And in addition, we then have 10 what we call inner development weeks. And the inner development weeks are tied to the inner development goals. And the inner development goals is a increasingly popular framework that is about what attitudes and skills you need to develop as an individual to be effective at realizing the sustainable development goals. So this is the content of the master, and I would like to zoom in into one specific week. And actually, if you have questions, feel free to already raise them in the chat, and I'll answer them as we go through the presentation. So this is my course. So my course is on corporate governance for sustainability, and it's an 8-week course. And I will talk with you about week 3, which focuses on shareholders, which is my favorite topic. So let me just illustrate how you as a student could structure that week. And I'll just walk you through that week. So it's Monday. And on Monday, you can watch our video clips. So we have, for this week, we have 6 knowledge clips. These are clips of about 5 minutes, where we have recorded here, for example, I'm explaining how divesting from certain companies would actually affect the cost of capital of these companies and how this could actually influence corporate behavior. And then we also have some interviews. Here I'm talking with Mylin, our teaching assistant, about the sustainability preferences of asset owners. You will also read a case study, for example, maybe Monday evening, you have 2 hours to read a case study. This is from my co-author, Fabrizio Ferraro from Jese Business School, and he has written a wonderful case study to give you an overview of sustainable investing. Then Tuesday, you have the pleasure of reading 2 academic papers that I just find amazing. So first, we have a paper by Martin Rohleder and co-authors that studies how funds that sell carbon-intensive assets, how this actually influences companies. And they have a very solid empirical approach and really a wonderful paper. And then a second one paper that I also really like a lot, it's by Rob Bauer and co-authors. They did a survey, or actually a vote among pension fund beneficiaries, and they found really interesting insights about what pension fund beneficiaries actually want in terms of sustainability. So you will have the pleasure on Tuesday, maybe Tuesday evening, or whenever you find time, to read some really interesting papers that help you get an in-depth understanding of sustainable investing. Then on Wednesday, we have a live session. As mentioned, we have the live session twice. We do this twice, both so that we have small groups where we have an intense interaction, because learning is, again, a social activity, but also to accommodate different time zones. And if you can't attend the live session, you can watch the recording, but you either need to join the live session or watch the recording so that you can catch up with the content. Then on Thursday, you may, for example, work on a student presentation. So across my course, at 2 points, you need to upload a student presentation. And then on Friday, you need to provide some feedback. So for example, here is an example where you upload a student presentation on the business case for corporate sustainability, and then you upload your 8 minutes presentation or 5 minutes presentation, and then I'll provide you some feedback, and also you need to provide peer feedback to fellow students. Yes, Dinesh, hi. So the live sessions, they're scheduled for 9 o'clock in the morning European time and 2 o'clock in the evening. Sorry, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This is basically a time that works for all time zones. So if you're, for example, joining from Asia, you could either, we've actually, in some of the recruitment interviews, some students told us they don't want to do it necessarily in the afternoon, but actually in their evening. So they could join the 2 o'clock session, which would be about, what would that be? 7:30. No, sorry, 7. I'm getting confused. 7:30 maybe India time. Could that be? Not sure. Right? It's the half-hour difference, right? But anyway, so I think that would be the evening, or if you want to do it in the afternoon. You could join in at 2 o'clock. And if you're, for example, joining in from Latin America, the 2 o'clock timing would be like 8 o'clock in the morning. So we accommodate different time zones. So it's 9 o'clock and 2 o'clock European time. So in a really bad case, when your work week is busy and you can decide to watch the live session on a later moment, yes, absolutely. Like we really encourage you to join the live sessions. Like this is a critical part of what we offer you. And again, learning is a social activity. So if we want, and we have these small classroom settings. So I think you're really missing a lot if you're not regularly joining the live sessions. This is a key aspect of the online master. But if in 1 week you just can't make it, you can of course watch the recording, and that's absolutely fine. But really, like if you think you could never join the live session, then I would really ask whether that's a good master for you, because like a key part of this is that you have small interactions with leading faculty members, and these are live interactions. And we have two different, we offer it twice to accommodate different time zones. And I think this is a key thing that we offer to you. And so we really hope that in most cases, you'll be able to join the live sessions. And to some degree, this is actually the tension that you have in any online program. We want to have like synchronous activities because we think it's good for learning, but we also realize that you are busy. It's a part-time master, and so we accommodate, we give you flexibility. And so by encouraging you to join the live session, but also giving you the opportunity to watch the recording, we basically want to get to a balance here. Okay, let me finish that. So on a Saturday, you could do our knowledge recap quiz. So after each session, we have a recap quiz, and you could do work on the group project, which also happens. And then on Sunday, well, you could, for example, do some spring rolls, as I recently did. I actually had a cooking competition with one of my neighbors. This was my entree. Yeah, and so basically what I want to say is like, I hope you will still have some time on the weekends, but also let me be very clear that this will be a lot of work. I mean, if you add up the numbers, this is about like 15 to 20 hours of work. So yeah, it's intense, but we really promise you will learn a lot in these 2 years. So Kiran, back to you.
Thank you so much, Emilio. So here are some career opportunities of what we expect you can do after graduating from studying this online master. There are some, if you could click a few more times. There we go. We have a lot more information and other webinars about the Sustainability Management Master on the Rotterdam School of Management YouTube page. So you can look at past webinars and also see our upcoming webinars there too. And this is our plan on how to finance your master. So the total tuition fees for the online master is 19,000 euros for 2 years. That's roughly 9,500 per year. To secure your spot, it's a 3,000 euro non-refundable admissions fee, and we suggest you pay the remaining installments in 4 installments of 4,000 euros. We also have scholarships available. You can check that on our website or contact us for more information of around 500 to 2,000 euros off your tuition fees. Scholarships are taken off the final installment of your tuition installment. And here are some admissions requirements. So what we require for you to apply for our online masters is a minimum of a bachelor's degree, around 3 years of postgraduate work experience, a strong command of English. We don't require an English certificate, but we will be assessing this during the interview. We would like some experience in managing people or projects, and This is going to be a really diverse classroom, hopefully a global classroom. So it's really important that you are able to effectively communicate with people from different cultures, able to work in teams, and have excellent communication skills to interact with your peers. The application process is simple. You create an account in Embark where you will upload a motivation letter, your CV, which shows your work experience, your degree, your bachelor's degree or equivalent, which is in the local language and also translated to English. There is an application fee of 20 euros for applying, and as we mentioned earlier, the tuition fee is 19,000 euros for both years. You can download our brochure by scanning the QR code here. You can also reach out to the online masters team via the email on screen. If you've got any questions, feel free to share them now and we'll do our best to help you. My colleague has also shared the scholarship information in the chat, so feel free to take a look at that.
I'm also happy to elaborate further on any content-related aspects, or if the time zones haven't been clear, or anything about this.
We have, how many assignments do we expect to do per course? And do we expect to take more than one course at the same time?
Yeah.
I'll let you answer that.
Yes. So happy to elaborate on that. So there's basically one course after the other. So it's not yeah. So yeah. So no to multiple courses in parallel, and so the assignments per course, that varies a bit. So let me just talk about my course. So corporate governance for sustainability. There you need to upload. You create two videos. Two videos in which you elaborate on a specific topic. So it could be, for example, you need to reflect on how, for example, sustainability issues become financially material in a certain country. So you can reflect on how things compare how things are in your country versus another country, and then you upload a 10 minutes video presentation on that. So that would be one of the assignments. You need to do that twice. Then there's a group work that is about 20% of the grade. And then there's also oral examination at the end where we're meeting for 20 minutes on a one-to-one basis, and we'll discuss what you have learned and may also ask you a question about your assignments. So we received that to the Q&A. Okay.
Okay, we have another question here about the English language requirement. I understand that a TEFL score of 100 is the standard, but is it possible to submit an application even if my score is below that, for example, 85? Yes, that's definitely possible. We suggest that you upload whatever you have. And if anything's missing, then we will let you know if you need to add additional evidence to support your application.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And then we had another question actually in the Q&A part. What degree is it? Well, it's a Master of Science, if that was the question about. But maybe it's actually easier if you put it into the other chat so that everybody sees it.
Right. And is there some difference between online master and face-to-face, except of course the way of having the course?
Yes, sure. I mean, there are big differences. So an important aspect of the course is that it's a part-time master. And so this is very different from a full-time master you would have at RSM. Because for a full-time master at RSM, We actually have much more like just mandatory sessions that you where you actually learn the content just in the classroom. And for the online master, we have produced all these videos. So just for my course, I've produced, I think, 28 videos, and across the 6 courses, there will be about 150 videos where you can learn a lot of content. And the point is just that we facilitate a lot of asynchronous, so non-live activities to give you greater flexibility. So this is an important aspect of how we want to allow students to squeeze in a time-intensive market, a master into a already busy week. And so that is probably the key difference, that it's more flexible. And then obviously you can do it wherever you want in the world.
Thank
Does the test
you.
need to be uploaded now?
So I can take that one. You don't need to, so our deadline is the 15th of July. I would recommend that you upload whatever you have as soon as possible. We're accepting applications on a rolling basis. If you are waiting for some documents, or you want to upload some things later, I would suggest you upload whatever you have now, so we can already review that and you can just upload whatever's missing. So no, you don't have to upload the certificate or evidence straight away. And I see another question about, can we get a more detailed curriculum like the one that you were sharing? You can see the modules on the website, and of course the information that Emilio has shared. And closer to the time, we can share more information. I see another question here. Would it be possible to request an extension for assignments due to business trips?
Okay. So an extension due to the business trips, yes. So we have a process where, I mean, we realize like our students are busy and they have work experience. I mean, one of the students we admitted, or some of them actually have like a decade or 2 decades of work experience. And they sometimes are senior managers or in a senior position that want to get sustainability knowledge. We accommodate that, and that's also really a key difference to what you would have in a full-time master. So there's definitely possibilities to do that. In the worst case, would it also be possible to take a semester break? Yes. It's not something. I mean, part of what we really appreciate about the online master is that there's this global community of students that go through the online master over time, and where you build a network. Like a part of what you get with this degree is also that you're building a community with other sustainability professionals. And so I imagine that after doing this master, you could pick up a phone and give someone a call in China if you have a question about like some sustainability issue in China or in Peru or in Kenya. And so I think if you're skipping semesters, this is really not ideal. This is really not a master where you're just like working on your own, and then it doesn't matter whether you skip a semester, but it's a cohort, and that obviously detracts from this experience. But obviously, if push comes to shove and this needs to happen, then we can that could be we could make that work. Just out of curiosity, what drove you to launch an online course online in sustainability today? So so you mean like if the question is about today, why exactly today? It's actually, we have been planning that for about 2.5 years. So it's really something that has been long in the making, because it's a long process. Just for example, the accreditation, this is a accredited Dutch degree, and the accreditation alone takes 1 year. And it's just RSM has just lots of expertise in that area. And so we believe we are just very well positioned to offer that degree. And in terms of the timing, obviously, the second Trump presidency isn't ideal timing for corporate sustainability. But then again, I really expect that sustainability will remain highly relevant in the medium term. And also, I mean, we also have interest from students, so I think it's still a very good timing to do such a degree. So yeah, thank you so much for these questions, Xiaoling. Let me get So actually, one more question. Is that showed online project or something similar on the certificate? Yes, I mean, well, actually,
I can take this one.
okay, please.
So it won't be showed on your diploma, but it will be shown in your transcript that this was an online master's.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have another couple of questions. Is it correct that the curriculum is not designed to run multiple tracks in parallel and that only one can be taken at a time?
Yes, that is correct. So basically, it's really you have one cohort, and with this cohort, you're going through the 6 courses. Um, so it's a relatively small scale program with up to 30 students. So there are no elective or anything where you would group out into different things, activities. It's just like given this size, that just wouldn't make sense. Like we have an elective in our like MBA, where we have 150 students. Their elective makes sense, but with a cohort of 30 students, which we have to allow these intense interactions, there we don't have electives. So it's basically just you have one cohort, this global classroom, and you go through these different steps together.
Thank you. And I see we have another question in the question and answer. Is there any in-person activity necessary at any point? No. This is a fully online master. You are more than welcome to come to campus and use our facilities if you are in the Netherlands or you're visiting, but it's not required at all for the course of the program. And I have a follow-up question for you, Emilio. So you aren't going to be doing multiple modules at the same time. Will you only be working with those teachers during those modules, or will you also work with them in different modules?
You mean whether, for example, with Steve, you would work with Steve just in these 8 weeks or also later on?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there's the master thesis at the end, and all the teachers that you met during the course, during the master, will be potential supervisors for your thesis. So if you're really fascinated by Steve's course, you could then, we'll have an overview of different thesis topics. And I'm sure Steve would offer something on system thinking and systems change. And yeah, and so you could have write your thesis with him and on one of these topics. So you can definitely come back to the teachers if you particularly like what their topics.
Thank you.
There's another Q&A. Yeah. Do you want to take that?
Okay, I'll take this. In case we wish to visit the university, will we be assisted with an invitation letter or other required documents for a visa? I believe not, since this program doesn't require you to be in the Netherlands in person, that we won't be helping with visa processes. You do you are eligible for a zoekjaar visa. I forget what the term is in English, but after graduation, you are able to come to the Netherlands for a year and find a job.
But I think invitation letter as such, like, I mean, we've offered to other students, and actually one prospective student actually visited us on campus just because he was coming from relatively nearby, I mean, a neighboring country. I think invitation letter, I mean, I mean, if you happen to be around, we're happy to have a coffee with you, right? And if you need an invitation letter for that, yeah, I guess we could provide that, but obviously we wouldn't support the formal visa process, which can be relatively a long journey. Depend. Well, but again, I don't really know the specifics about this. Takuma
More
asked
questions.
about. Oh, okay, Kiran, could you actually take this
Yes.
one?
So would it be possible to share data on which countries or regions the participants come from? I don't think I can share that data in the way that you want, but I can tell you maybe a little bit about the applicants. We have right now a really diverse group of applicants. People from Asia, from Europe, from Africa. So right now it is very diverse, and we're hoping that the classroom will be that diverse. So yeah, that's as much as I can share right now.
But it's actually really balanced so far, right? And
Exactly.
that we can share like across continents. It's really quite balanced. Yeah.
The next question, will there be an in-person graduation for online students?
No, actually, no. So the answer is no. But there's a small but. So maybe we considering like for those that are nearby anyway doing something. But this is like 2.5 or 2 years down the road. But so in general, no, it's really online master, and we think to some degree it would defy the purpose of online master to then do something on site. Also considered carbon emissions, like if we have like 30 students fly in. So like default option is to make really everything online, including graduation. But we also have like we have actually have another online master at Erasmus University. They actually do something like this because some students really like it, but then others don't. So to be honest, like we don't. Maybe we do something, but we just haven't figured that out yet because it's in 2 years down the road.
It depends on the cohort and if there's interest, we'll definitely try and facilitate it, but we're not guaranteeing that now. I see some more questions coming in. This is great. I have taken similar skills crash courses in another master's, and in that case, would it be possible not to take those if you see them in my transcript? We are not accepting any transfers or opting out of courses at this stage, so unfortunately not. My colleagues have shared, if you have any questions about visas, please email us at onlinemasters@rsm.nl.
Okay. Okay, it will be hybrid. Okay. What is the average experience of the cohort? Kiran, can you give us a rough
Sorry,
sense
what was
of
that?
that? There's actually in the Q&A section, Dean
Okay.
having another question asking, what's the average experience of the cohort?
The average experience of the
So
cohort.
I guess work
So
experience, right? We require at least 3 years.
exactly, yes. There are people from completely different walks of life. Some people have a lot of experience, and some people have around 3 years of experience at least.
Yeah.
So it'll definitely be a really fun learning opportunity to meet people all over the world in similar fields, maybe not, but helping you grow and learn in the classroom.
So Susanna actually
And
shared the average age is 35, and I guess the experience would be between 3 years as a minimum to probably like 20, 25 years. And then
mhm.
with that span in terms of working experience, that would then align with the 35 years of average age. How recent is this online master? Daniela asks. It's actually brand new, so you would be the inaugural cohort of the online master, if that's a question, right? So
And to add on to that, we are really open to feedback. That's why we're really trying to create an intimate classroom experience, especially for the first cohort. We want you to help us shape the experience and yeah, build a program that works for you. It's really a personalized experience. So we're really open to suggestions and feedback and ideas. So I think it's a really unique opportunity as well to get to do a master's like this.
could we briefly talk about AI, Kiran?
About AI?
AI. No, because it's like, I mean, just because we still have a little bit of time, maybe that's
Yeah.
also interesting for students. I can maybe share some thoughts we have about online masters and AI, because it's actually, I think it's also like AI is disruptive for education in general and higher education in particular, and I think for online masters very much in particular. Because like there are some online masters where you have like huge cohorts. I won't give you any names, but also not sustainability online masters, but where you basically just have huge cohorts and you have a couple of videos, very few interactions, and you just submit some assignments. And I think these types of online masters are just very easily doable with AI if you just like, yeah, submit some ChatGPT output for your online master. And so, and and we think basically AI is a challenge for higher education, but also an opportunity to just do what we always should have done. And it's just like learning through interactions and intense discussions. And so we believe that AI really also, we actually think with this small cohort of students, we're in a very good position to actually really just offer you something as students that you just can't get from just interacting with a large language model, but also to really ensure that people don't get degrees by just submitting ChatGPT output, because then degree would be worth very little. And currently you can actually get online masters with just submitting ChatGPT output. And so what we have is like the intense, like the close interaction with faculty members. We believe that's a key aspect of the online master. And we will also have oral examinations. And the oral examination will always be at the end of the course. And I've actually done oral examination in one of my MBA electives. So it's an MBA elective on sustainable investing. And students reacted so positively to that, because it's basically just you sit together at the end. It's 20 minutes. My opening question is always, what is the key insight you take from this course? So students can set the stage. They start with elaborating on what was most useful in this course for them, and that will be the same in the online master. The faculty member will start with what is the most important insight from this course for you. So you can set the stage, but then we'll also deep dive into things. We may ask you like, oh, in this live session we discussed this, or in that reading, what do you think about this? And in your assignment, you elaborate on this. Let me ask you this question. So we believe that's it's really very good to for students really just to learn, to really have this, to prepare for this oral examination. I think students need to really reflect deeply about what they have learned in the course. And also, I think it will be a just enjoyable discussion with a faculty member who are like really leading experts in the field. So our experience has been very positive for oral examinations so far. And I think basically the introduction of AI tools is also the age where there's a comeback of oral examinations, because they're very time intensive for faculty members, but they also, I think they provide a good, they require very focused preparation from the students, and I think they're just very suitable for good learning. Yeah, and if you have any further questions about that, also happy to respond to that. Takuma has Takuma has a question. Could you clarify what type of deliverable is expected for the final 16-week period? For example, is it intended to be an academic paper suitable for journal publication? So what we have here is a regular Master of Science, and so the final it's a regular master thesis that you will write. We also accommodating to a certain degree what we expect from students. So, for example, the master thesis will be shorter than what you currently are writing at RSM. So currently at RSM, the bandwidth is 30 to 70 pages of main text in the master thesis. And we just believe that with ChatGPT output, text is so easy to produce. And we also encourage students to use ChatGPT or AI tools if productive, right? But basically, at this point, producing text has just become very cheap, but ideas still remain relevant. So we want to have shorter theses, like 30 pages, where you have just a very crisp, clear statement of what you're analyzing, and then have a very solid analysis either based on quantitative analysis, where you download some data and RSM has amazing access to all that types of sources, and then you do some statistical analysis, or you do some interviews where you interview some people on a certain topic, and then you do a qualitative analysis of the main topics that emerge from these interviews. And we'll have skills crash courses both on finding your research question, quantitative methods and qualitative methods. And so so this should really set a good jumping off point for you to produce produce a good master thesis. In terms of whether that's intended or suitable for journal publication, it should be of the same style as a journal publication, but obviously it's mainly for learning. It's not that the output is not meant for publication, and that has some important implications. For example, I always tell my master students, I don't care whether they find support for their hypotheses, because we basically would tell students, you need to find support for your hypotheses. It would just encourage them to cheat or manage massage the data until they find a statistically significant correlation. And we just tell them, like, have good hypotheses if it's quantitative thesis, do a very sound empirical approach, and then report what you have. And if it's not supported, you can still get the best possible grade, even if you don't find support, as long as you have interesting hypotheses and have done a thorough data analysis. And obviously that would be very different for a journal publication. If you don't find support for your hypotheses, you can just forget about publishing something. And obviously also the standards are different. I mean, this is a master thesis, so we want you to give a good attempt at doing something scientifically, but we would not expect that this would be anywhere close to what you could submit to a journal, at least to a good journal. Because, like, to submit to a journal, you do that in the third year of your PhD after working 3 years of full-time on the research. So I think the master thesis is you should get a sense of how to do academic work, because we believe knowing how to do academic work will help you as a sustainability professional. Once you've done a regression analysis yourself, you're in a better position next time you see a report about sustainability that includes a regression analysis. You'll be in a better position to actually assess what happened there, and you have a sense of, like, how did they operationalize different things. So you don't need, the idea is not that you become a scientist afterwards, but you really know how all the scientific evidence is produced by doing some of it yourself. Are there potential pathways to a PhD with this degree? Yes, absolutely. So it's a regular Master of Science. So with this Master of Science, and RSM has a very good reputation. Again, you can watch at look at in terms of research output, we really like very much among the top universities in the world. Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, we would accept in our PhD program, we would accept this master as any other master from us as a prerequisite, in terms of degree you bring to a master. So absolutely. Fun. I actually have difficulties hearing you, but maybe it's just me. Maybe, or maybe someone, Susanna, can maybe write in the chat whether it's just me who has difficulties hearing you. But there are more questions. Actually, I'll first answer the question. Okay, Dinesh has another question regarding the final project. Is it a group or individual project, and would you support in connecting with an organization? Yes, so it's an individual project, and we also very much support you in connecting with an organization. So okay, let me flesh that out. So it's individual. There are basically two pathways. One would be you do something where you're not collaborating with a company. For example, you could have a question like, how does diversity affect stock market performance? And then RSM has all types of data sets where you can download data, and then you do your regressions, and then you find something. So there's no need to collaborate with a certain company. If you want to work with a company, you can also do that. You could, for example, start with a question that is relevant for that company, and then you still need to connect it to an academic literature, because it's really not a consulting project. It's still a master thesis for a Master of Science. but you can definitely work with the company, and we could offer you some support with connecting with a company. I mean, RSM has a huge network, so that would definitely be possible. And you could discuss that with your supervisor for your master thesis, depending on what you want to do. You could also just work with a company you already know. But we definitely can help you with if you want to work with a company.
Can you hear me now?
It's better, yes, or it's fine.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Okay. Oh, so the next intake will be in January 2026. Yes, that's correct. We have 2 intakes a year in September and January. So yeah, I believe these are the last questions. Oh, I see something in Q&A.
I think
No.
that's all.
Okay, thank you so much everybody for joining. If you have any remaining questions, you can reach out to us at onlinemasters@rsm.nl. You will also be able to watch back on YouTube if you want to have a look again at what we've discussed today. And Emilio, I really want to thank you for your time in helping us share the information about the Sustainability Management Master.
Thank you, Kiran. Yeah, it would be good to see some of you then in the master.